President All Ceylon Jamatul Ulama Sheikh M.I.Rizi Mufti, State Minister of National Integration and Reconciliation Honorable H.M. Fauzi, President Forum for National Unity Mr. N.M. Amin, former Ambassador and former Member of Parliament Mr. M.M. Zuhair, distinguished guests, community leaders and respected members of the Muslim community. I am truly honored to be felicitated at this prestigious event. I wish to thank the President of the Forum for National Unity, Mr. Amin, and Honorable H.M. Fauzi for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words on this grand occasion. Mr. Amin, as we all know, is not only a prominent journalist, but also an advocate for unity and communal harmony. Being the President of the Forum for National Unity, Mr. Amin has done a yeoman's service to our country by promoting peace and harmony among the communities of our land. The State Minister of National Integration and Reconciliation, Honorable H.M. Fauzi, needs no introduction. He, being the most senior Muslim minister in Sri Lanka, has devoted his public life to serving his country and his community. Since entering politics in 1959, he has worked tirelessly and diligently to uplift the Muslim community in Sri Lanka. Though he may be nearly twice my age, he is still the most immaculately dressed politician in our parliament. He and I may hail from two different and at most time opposing political parties, but I must say that he is a politician that I have always admired and respect immensely. Minister Fauzi's subject on national integration and reconciliation is not only challenging, but of utmost importance for the future of our country, a country that has finally seen an end to a brutal civil war that plagued us for 26 years, a war that tore the social fabric of our country, polarized and divided communities, and planted the seeds of fear, intolerance, and mistrust in a once peaceful land. For most part of our lives, we lived in fear during these years. We witnessed untold misery, devastation, and brutality that war brought upon us. Tens and thousands of innocent civilians of all ethnicities fell victim to the bloody conflict. In any conflict, the ultimate victims are always the innocent men, women, and children. No community was spared. From the Arantalava massacre, where a bus full of Buddhist monks were waylaid and slaughtered by the LTTE, to the Black July race riots, where innocent Tamil families lost their lives, property, and possessions. The Kantakudi Mosque massacre, where over 100 Muslim devotees lost their lives. To the suicide bomb attack at St. Anne's Church in Vallavatta. The wave of violence swept over all races and religions. Minister Fauzi himself narrowly escaped the suicide bombing of a Muslim religious parade in Akuras. Thanks to the valiant forces, we have at last achieved the peace we had all longed for. We now have a golden opportunity to break down the walls of mistrust and suspicion and unite all communities in this country. However, winning a war alone cannot grant us an everlasting peace because the wounds of war runs deep. For these wounds to heal, we have to address the issues and concerns of all communities. Our forces fought and sacrificed their lives and limbs to protect the unitary state of this country. It is now up to us to protect and maintain the peace that they won for us. We must, by all means, ensure that our future generations do not experience what we endured during the time of the conflict. The peace we enjoy today will only be temporary until and unless a proper reconciliation process is adopted and followed. It is only through reconciliation that we can heal the wounds of war and prevent the re-emergence of the LTT or the rise of any other armed group. If we believe that reconciliation is not needed, and with time these wounds will heal, then all I can say is that yes, temporarily, on the surface the wound will dry and leave a scar, but underneath the scar, it will fester and infect and will erupt once again with greater force. The unity government, under the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, is committed to bring about a lasting solution through a proper reconciliation process. A process that will uphold the civil liberties and promote unity of all citizens in this country. However, the path to reconciliation is a path fraught with obstacles and challenges. We must by all means follow this path with open minds and open hearts and strive to overcome these challenges so that our future generations may live in peace and harmony. This country cannot and must not be divided among ethnic lines. We must unite under one flag with one common identity, a Sri Lankan identity. While we pursue a path to peace and reconciliation, I must clearly state that we as a government, first and foremost, give priority to the national security of our country. President Sirisena, as the Minister of Defense, and us all who have been tasked with the duty of defense, are committed to keeping every single citizen safe. The so-called joint opposition has repeatedly spoken of the re-emergence of the LTTE and the threat to national security, accusing the government of intentionally putting national security at risk. These baseless statements are made to score cheap political points for these politicians. I must clearly state that we in the defense establishment are taking and have taken every precaution to strengthen national security. The re-emergence of the LTTE is remote. The defense forces, the police, and our intelligence branches are constantly on high alert. While I cannot go into details of our activities, let me say that necessary measures have been taken to prevent a re-emergence of the LTTE. Our forces are trained, equipped, and ready to face any challenge that threatens the security of our country. The Ministry of Defense works very closely with the Ministry of Law and Order to keep our country safe. We have to be mindful and watchful of any group or activists that threaten the social fabric of this land. Not only terrorism, but religious extremism and race hate groups in any form must not be tolerated. This government is committed to building a just and tolerant society. In Lord Buddha's teaching on governance, we learn about the Dasaraja Dharma, the 10 laws of governance, whereby a ruler must govern with generosity, morality, liberality, openness, gentleness, self-restraint, non-anger, non-violence, patience, and non-competitiveness. In K.M. Jayatilaka's book, Dhamma, Man and Law, he states that Buddhist political philosophy is based upon, I quote, that power drives its legitimacy from upholding and promoting fairness, equality, and the rule of law, end quote. These are the principles that we, as a government, must strive to follow. In the Holy Quran, the Prophet Muhammad said to the non-believers, "To you, your religion, and to me, my religion," thereby preaching tolerance to the people. Islam too believes that reconciliation through self-restraint is the best means of coexistence. The Buddhist community and the Muslim community in Sri Lanka lived in peace and harmony throughout thousands of years. Muslim leaders as T.B. Jaya, M.C. Siddhilebbe joined hands with leaders such as D.S. Sennaka, F.R. Sennaka, Sir James Pieris, Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan, Sir Ponnambalam Arunachalam in the struggle of independence from colonial rule. We must not let any religious extremist group or race hate group to drive a wedge to create disharmony between our communities. While we promote tolerance, we must not entertain such groups that spew hatred. Comedian and political commentator Bill Maher once said, and I quote, "Don't get so tolerant that you tolerate intolerance." In the past few years, particularly since the end of the war, we saw an emergence of such groups. The violence that erupted in Aludgama is a prime example of such race hate groups can incite tensions between communities. Such incidents must not reoccur in any way or form in this country. The government will take necessary steps to bring these groups under the law. No group has the right to scare a community into submission. It cannot be done. Hatred will only breed hatred. I must say that majority of the Buddhist population do not endorse such groups. However, though most don't endorse, some do tolerate simply because of the lack of trust and suspicions that has been created by sections of the media, particularly the foreign media and social media. I believe religious leaders of all communities have to play a more prominent role in promoting harmony and unity. Media too should act more ethically by not sensationalizing such groups, but by condemning their hateful rhetoric and acts. I am also well aware of how the ISIS phenomenon has affected the Muslim community in Sri Lanka. I must reiterate that we in the defense establishment and the police are diligent and alert to anyone, foreign or local, attempting to use this country to recruit or train for extremist terror groups. I know your concerns, and we are willing to work with you to address these concerns. Rest assured that our military forces, police and intelligence agencies will not allow any extremist element to destabilize our country or the region. It is a duty they do not take lightly. Before I end my speech, I wish to thank once again Mr. Amin and Honorable Minister Fauzi for the invitation extended to me. It has truly been a wonderful experience. I also wish to thank you, the audience, for your patience. I shall end by quoting our President, Mr. Amin. He once said in a speech, "I consider Sri Lanka as my own country and motherland. I was born here and I want to die here as a true Sri Lankan. Contributing and inducing my fellow men and women to contribute towards peaceful living through reconciliation. Let us all unite and live as one family." Thank you.